What's up, everybody? Coach Stefan here. I'm with one of our clients, John. He was so gracious to jump on and give a little bit of feedback on how things have been in the program. So, John, do you mind just giving people a little bit of background, introducing yourself, and then we'll dive into the progress you've made, man?
Yeah, sure. My name is John. I joined about 7 months ago. My current profession is I do kind of IT work and some software engineering, but on the side, or my fun job, as I like to call it, I'm a volunteer paramedic where I live in Northern Virginia. And I'm kind of from the Northern Virginia area, moved around a little bit with some parents that did government work, but have been pretty much settled here. Got married about a year and a half ago, so that's been amazing. And, here we are.
Yeah. And you and your wife, Kate, joined together, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, by the way, for those of you listening, isn't like the usual case, but we do have several couples in the program that join together. Sometimes people will join like either the male or the female and or the spouse, whatever, and then the other spouse joins. But some people do join together. What was like the big thing that made you and your wife pull the trigger and say, all right, like we got to get help, we got to get some coaching, and not us specifically, but just even kind of explored that in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is both my wife and I come from very athletic backgrounds. She played college soccer at a very high level, and I did competitive powerlifting in college and played sports all through high school. So both of us, are used to being in the gym in some capacity. And once we got married, got into life, she started a new job because I moved her down to Virginia from Pennsylvania. And we were going to a gym. I was kind of programming for us, but all my programming knowledge was like more powerlifting specific, where she wanted more physique and to look a little bit better and trying to like figure out workouts that we could both do at our different skill levels. And with she's a nurse, so her kind of schedule, she didn't work the same 3 days every week.
Yeah.
Just kind of we were getting to the gym, but not as consistently and not nearly putting in the effort, both targeted and effort output as we had hoped. And we kind of got to the point of like we neither of us liked where we were at, and we knew we needed help that was more than either of us could do with our current knowledge and just with our busy schedules.
Okay, cool. So if I'm hearing you right, obviously athletic background, you guys had some knowledge, but when you put in like, you working this schedule, she's working that schedule, my wife's a nurse, so I get it. Kind of, as much as you want to help her too, like you kind of have your thing that you like to do, which is more of the powerlifting and the strength, and that's maybe not so much of her vibe. So you go to the gym together, she's kind of doing her thing, you're trying to help her. It's a little messy, right? And we see that all the time. And it sounds like you wanted, programming, kind of help with like nutrition, some guidance and accountability of like, hey, this is what we're going to do. What do you think was the big thing that made you pull the trigger with working with Pursuit specifically?
I did a lot of research. I looked around, but I really liked how long you guys have been around. I'll be honest, I looked for the Better Business Bureau rating because that
Yeah,
was the type of
that's good.
research I was doing.
Yeah.
But really just seeing that you guys work with first responders, that you had a bunch of different coaches with different skill sets, and that you were used to working with people working night shift, working 12s, and that it was all encompassing. I mean, I think that was the big thing, like you just said, doing working out in the gym is about 20% of any physique or performance or whatever it might be. It's the diet, it's the sleep, it's the how can it fit into your lifestyle. And then honestly, after we met and we're talking through some of like the intro interviews that we had, the fact that the goal is to, in 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, get it to where I don't necessarily need Pursuit anymore, right? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I love what you guys do. I just re-signed on, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But, the goal is to build habits to make fit people for life, not just oh, here's an 8 week program.
Yeah.
I hope it works.
Yeah, we're kind of on the other side, right? Like we are generally the company, and it just really like high level online coaching, which I would consider us in that bracket for sure, is like usually where people go after they've done the cookie cutter or got a trainer and it didn't work. Like I don't want to say we're the last resort, but usually it's not like the first thing. However, I always tell people like coaching collapses time, right? Like it what it would take you 5 years might take you one if you don't run into all the brick walls, of like, oh, I've hit a plateau or I don't know what to do or I got injured, all those things. But you said it yourself. The one thing about this community, right? Because we do work with cops, firefighters, military, and medical. So although there's a ton of similarities, if you want one commonality, it's y'all are busy. and you have crazy lives. And it's really finding each individual or each couple or each household and saying, how does this fit in? And, which we'll get into is like we do a pretty in-depth, meticulous process, especially in the beginning and throughout the program to make sure it does fit, right? Because every person is different. And although there's some great similarities, like what works for one person is not always going to work for another person, or even like you, what works for you might not work for your wife. Same household, man. But it's also we also work with you on integrating of like, hey, I don't want you guys to have to do like, you're eating Tupperware on one side of the dinner table and she's eating out of one thing, like, especially with the nutrition, it's a little bit more challenging. So I know you've had a lot of like sit downs and conversation with your coach and like how she's going to eat and how you're going to eat. Um, so yes, I'm glad you did your research. What were like, if you could say your biggest struggle before joining the program, and it could be you, and I know she's not on, but you and your wife. What do you think like it was? Was it the nutrition? Was it the like not knowing to program? Was it just structure? Like what was that for you?
I think nutrition was probably number one, just because I think some of my nutrition knowledge was a little bit outdated, and I just figured like, hey, I've always been a hard gainer. I'm working out. Like, obviously, I need carbs, and like working with Coach Mike kind of flipped that on its head, prioritize protein more. But I think also just I was getting bored. Like, I knew how to program my stuff, but I have a pretty limited knowledge. And like, sure, I was doing progressive overload. Sure, I was doing things, but I had lost a lot of that spark for the gym.
Yeah.
Like, I was going out of habit because I knew I'd feel like crap if I didn't. But so kind of that nutrition and then just like, yeah, I'm going, but maybe I'm giving 70 or 80% effort just because I'm not excited.
Yeah. And you came in like not bad shape by any means, right? Like,
No.
some of our clients come in and they wanted to lose 20, 30, 40 pounds. For you, I think it's fair to say it was more like performance and body recomp. Like, if you take your shirt off, you're like, oh, dude's fit. Like, he works out. Now you're looking good, man. You look a little
Yeah.
Greek god. And there wasn't, I mean, I think you did, and we can dive into it, but to me, it's like you just had a really good body recomp,
Yeah.
in a short period of time with PRs, right? With or at least like strength increases.
Oh,
So walk
100%.
walk me through that, man. Like in the last 6 months ish, what goals have you achieved with nutrition? I kind of want to touch on that because I know that was like your biggest struggle. Is like, how have you
Yeah.
solved that? And then I'd love to know about your like performance and physique.
Yeah. I think the nutrition part of it first was just having like definitive goals. Like, Coach Mike said, you're eating this many calories a day and this percentage is protein, this is carbs, this is fat. It took me a couple weeks to figure out the math. Like, do I calculate the math beforehand and have meals planned out and different things? I think prioritizing the protein's been great. Prioritizing like um, just natural sources of protein. Like I'm eating red meat, 5 to 7 times a week, a lot of chicken, a lot of whole foods, keeping the carbs low. So that's been really good. Um, and just I've found some recipes that are repeatable. Like the
Yeah.
last probably 3 or 4 weeks, like I eat the same breakfast and the same lunch, and it takes me 2 hours to make 5 meals of each. So like I have my work week done. Um, and I already know what the macros are going to be for that. Weekends are still a little bit of a struggle, still working that out just because the diet's more variable. But like the new AI tool has been super helpful for logging and being accurate with that. As far as in the gym goals, I just wanted to be athletic. So I mean, some of the crazy goals like I Zercher squatted 405 for a single. Like
Yeah.
never would have thought of touching that. We're testing my deadlift max, which that was kind of my specialty when I was doing powerlifting. But when I competed, I did sumo. I've been doing mostly conventional, and I am potentially on pace in the next couple of weeks to hit my best ever um, PR that I did competing conventional, which like I was kind of convinced I would never touch 600 on deadlift again. So like that'll be pretty sweet.
And you
I
look
mean,
better now too, right?
oh yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm a little bit heavier, but it's a dense heavy. Like
Yeah.
it's like it looks good. And even like last wave, he had me doing like 4 mile rucks on the treadmill with a 25-pound vest. I don't remember the last time I actually ran 4 miles. And by the week 3, I did 4 miles in under 45 minutes with a 25-pound vest on.
Yeah.
So like it's just been crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you're training a lot, and you're training hard for a lot of different things. But I think that's like kind of how I like to train for the most part, if I can. And some of our like SWAT dudes in our ta and I get it, like that's not you, like you don't have that job, but that also is you, right? Like you're
Right.
more of that tactical performance athlete, and you know, what I hear a lot too, because I've have calls with a lot of these officers that, I think we get a mix. I think some of them, and firefighters, I think we get a mix of like some guys that think they're in better shape than they are, and they want to be like, tactically fit, this animal. And then we do get some guys that are in pretty good shape that want to take it to the next level. And I always try to tell them like, I know you know how to work out, right? Like, why do I need a coach? Like, I know how to lift. Like, don't I just do it? How's the programming being different? I mean, from somebody that played sports and had like background for powerlifting, like, is this something that you could have just figured out online and downloaded a program and figured it out? Or do you feel like it's actually like a lot more complicated than people might think?
I think I think it's more complicated than people think. I think, especially with truly how custom it is. Like I looked at some coaches and some different things, and they're like, "Yeah, here's our blueprint that we use for everybody." And it's like, well, at risk of sounding a little cocky, I'm probably in better shape than 90% of people going to get coaching, right?
Yeah.
And so, like coming in with Coach Mike, and it's different every 3 weeks. It's stuff I never would have thought to do. And honestly, coming in, I was a little scared to do conjugate because I did it once or twice when I was in powerlifting and didn't have great results. Now, I think that was for a multitude of reasons. I don't
Yeah.
think it was programmed right. I think it was too early in my lifting career. I didn't have a base of the forms for bench squat and deadlift. So spending 8 weeks doing anything but the normal, which was how they programmed it for me. Then I had to basically relearn how to like squat normal and all that sort of stuff, where it's great being at where I am in my fitness journey now. But yeah, I never would have come up with like some of this stuff on my own.
Yeah. And I think that's good to know because it's like with the world of like AI and chat GPT and things online, there's so much information. And it's not that, if you follow cookie cutter stuff, it's not that you can't make progress in it, but it will only get you so far. And again, it might take you longer. You run the risk of injury. You're not squeezing all the juice out. And then I do think once you get to a certain point of your lifting career, and you said this and it resonated with me, you're like, I kind of got bored, man. I kind of was just like checking the box a little bit at the gym. And that sucks when you like to train. And that's how I was, man, before I started having people program me and have Coach Mike program as me. And sometimes I have Coach Ryan program me. And like, not that I can't, but we are biased, right? When we write our own programs too, we kind of do the same things we like. And so having somebody else look at it and program and kind of like customize it to you. And for those of you listening, it is truly custom. I mean, we are getting feedback on every workout that you guys are doing. We're you. How about you tell us,
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
Instead of me saying it, like when you say it's custom, walk me through because some people just think like, no, but it's not really that custom. Like, how in depth is the programming?
oh, it's about as adept as you can get. I mean, short of like literally having Coach Mike in the gym with me. Um, I mean, him and I are messaging back and forth probably multiple times a day, and especially like every 3 weeks. So he has me going in 3 week waves. The rep scheme changes a little bit and some progressive overload within those 3 weeks, but every 3 weeks it's a brand new set of exercises. And you kind of focus on different things. So like this 3 weeks is focusing on kind of posterior chain and testing my deadlift while really working on the upper body, like the chest and pressing out of the bottom of the bench press. um, Last 3 week cycle was much more of like the lower back, Zercher squats, that sort of thing, lots of rows, and then more shoulder focus. So I was doing push press and different things like that. But basically, at about half a week before the next wave starts, Coach Mike and I are like, all right, what are we doing this week? Do you have a thought or do you want thoughts from me? And sometimes he's like, no, based off your pictures and numbers, we're going to do this thing the next 3 weeks. And sometimes he's like, hey, you crushed it. What do you want to do next? And
Yeah.
it's
It's
awesome.
very collaborative, right? And
Yeah.
I think that that is actually the missing thing with good coaching. And the reason I say that is because I've had online coaches for myself, and some be like, "Well, this is what we're doing," and like, yes, the coach is kind of in charge-ish, but we want feedback, which is why we have you do the check-in form and like looking at everything: sleep, stress, water intake, how you doing, how you liking it, how difficult was this workout? It's this like collaborative living thing, right? Where we're able to kind of make micro adjustments if we need to or not, right? But yeah, man, I mean, also the proof's in the pudding. It's just like from a 10,000 foot view, it's like, are you getting the results you want? You're like, yes, I'm getting bigger, faster, stronger, better endurance. My physique's better. It's like, all right, awesome. It's working. And obviously, it's not all butterflies and rainbows, man. Like you put in the work, you work your ass off and continue to do it. So you should be super proud of yourself and your wife too. And, yeah, you already, I think, saw the value of the program because you mentioned it above. Like you already re-signed and said, "Hey, I know I'm committing for another 15 months. Like when it's done, you're like, I'm in, man. I want to do a couple years and really make the progress." And I know that's unsexy to say for those of you listening, like a couple years, like, oh my God, dude, you spent your whole life probably not doing the right thing a couple of years to really get dialed in. And not everybody stays that long, so don't run away. But like we do have a lot of clients that do stay a couple of years and they really build a solid foundation, even if they're coming in at like a higher level like you, right? Because that's also an objection I hear is like, well, I don't need coaching. Let me do like a couple months. And I'm like, depends on your goals, man. It depends on how good you want to get. And for you, you're obviously a high achiever and have super high standards and goals for your physique and health. Great. There's always going to be room to go, right? That's why bodybuilders have coaches, professional sports players have coaches. So, that's I'm proud of you for like making the investment for your time, for your finances of like getting in it. But what was like a big fear you had before joining, man? Because I know you're all in now. You're like, I love Coach Mike, I love Pursuit, but like, 6 months ago, I'm sure there was a little bit of like, oh man, I don't know. Like me and my wife are gonna do it. It's a big investment. Like, what were those fears?
Uh, I guess probably the biggest fear was, did I not do my research? Is something like a scam? Because there's so many scams and stuff on the internet. And then once getting through and obviously finding out it's not that, just kind of like there was a little bit of my pride of like I was a nationally competitive powerlifter. I was coaching other powerlifters. Am I signing up for somebody that just pretty much knows everything I know and I'm going to get stuff that I could have made up myself? Obviously, everything has blown me away, completely different than I've ever trained. It's working, like, love every minute of it. But coming in as somebody that spent the majority of my college career in the weight room,
Yeah.
competitively getting good at lifting weights, it's been a blast.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. And yeah, I know it's hard when like people first meet me. Like I think you probably came in off of like an ad, right? Like, who's this guy? And like, so I mean,
Right.
that's generally how we get a lot of our clients. And part of the reason we have kind of a discovery call or, interview process before is I want to get to know you and the clients. And yeah, sometimes when I'm like, dude, this coach is going to be so good for you, people are like, oh, it pretty says to everybody. I'm like, no,
Mm-mm.
not everybody. Number one, I don't accept everybody in the program. And number two, one of my main jobs is putting you with somebody like I told you, like, dude, Coach Mike is your dude. And I
Yeah.
know it's like hard to believe that, but like I knew right away, I'm like, dude, you're gonna love working with him. But also just, we have super high level coaches on staff, and I know, and when I built the company, I wanted to hire people that were better coaches than me. That's seriously like I have to hire people that are going to be on our staff that are as good, if not better than me, or have other expertise. And yeah, some different avenues too. So I can sit there and say, hey, this person's going to be really good with you. They're going to be able to resonate. Or hey, your style of training is, that's my job, right? So I'm glad it's a good matchup. What do you think your biggest takeaway is from the program so far, man? I know it's kind of an open, broad question, but
No, I think the biggest takeaway is, I thought I was in good shape, but now I'm realizing what good shape actually is.
hmm,
And I think just the collaboration of all the parts, the nutrition, the exercise, the accountability of checking in with coach. You have those video calls consistently the first 3 months, and then you have the check-ins every week, and knowing like, one of my big things with coaches is I want a coach that's almost equal to or better than me athletically. And Coach Mike is definitely that. So like
yeah,
there's almost from afar a little bit of that, like, hey, I'm trying to keep up with you or catch
yeah.
up to you, right? And so just bringing all those things together is doing stuff that I kind of figured my days of lifting super heavy were done after powerlifting in college. And now I'm showing up and using weights for warm-ups that I barely ever touched actually powerlifting.
Let's
So
go.
just,
It's awesome.
regardless of if you're in college, out of college, like there aren't really many goals that are unrealistic if you put all the right pieces together.
Yeah, man. I like that you said the chasing thing too. And that's important for us because, you know, I'm not going to totally crap on in-person training because there's some really good in-person trainers. But I think the training industry, from what I see when I go to gyms, is an absolute joke. Like, I don't want these trainers to train me. And there's good ones. Like, I'm not saying that. But yeah, I mean, you would want to hire a financial coach that has less money than you. Probably not, right? Like, you'd want them to be as wealthy or wealthier or, and more educated. And we know that. And so, I want to hire high level coaches that actually perform, or, maybe we have some of our other coaches have expertise in other areas. Maybe they're not like a power lifter. I mean, Mike's kind of a little bit of a Swiss Army knife, which
Yeah.
makes him a really good coach. But yeah, I mean, like I'm even more on the like aesthetic side. I'm athletic, but with my background in like fitness modeling and different things too, like yes, I'm an athlete, but we all have our little different areas and it makes it so we're just a good coaching team. Last thing, man, like what has just the experience been overall with like the community, customer service, speed of communication with your coach? Because I say this all the time, like the number one bad taste that I hear is like, oh, I did a program and my coach like told me to email them and they took 3 days to get back. And like, it just like, how's that whole experience been since day one?
No, I mean, it's better than I could have ever imagined. I mean, I guess that was kind of going back to an earlier question, another worry of like, all right, is a coach is going to make something for me and I got to go do it for 3 weeks and I'm never going to hear back. But like I said, Coach Mike and I talk every day. I mean, I would say we're borderline friends as opposed to coach client now at this point. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm texting him mid workout and, half the time he responds within the same set or two. So that's been great. All the customer service has been great. For those listening, my wife is pregnant. So like we've already talked to Stefan about going on a pause, which means basically that, when she's can't work out because of the pregnancy, her timer kind of stops with the program. So as soon as she's cleared to go again, she'll pick that right back up. It's not like we're losing money on that or anything. And all that communication has been great, super, super easy. And it's made lifting in the gym so much more fun.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And we do a lot of training with all the coaches of like speed to response. I mean, we can't live on our phone complete like 24/7 or our laptops, but pretty freaking close to it, right? And I think that's really important. And you said something like we almost kind of are friends at this point. That is a good coach. And honestly, with every client that I've ever had that is successful in the program, I want it to feel like that, right? Like, yeah, they're still your coach, but here's the thing: if you've ever, you played sports so like all my coaches that I liked and I did well for, I felt like I mean I know they're my coach, but I almost felt like they're my friend too,
Yeah.
right? And that's the thing. We're building a relationship. I mean, we're communicating with you. We want you to like vibe with them, and like, that's important. I don't want it to just be this super transactional thing. I mean, if you want it that way, but I think over time, a lot of our community ends up kind of building a friendship and a relationship. And we have like Coach Josh is a firefighter. He shoots a shit all the time with all of his clients that are firefighters. It's like, yeah, I'm still your coach. You got to get the job done, but we want it to be this community and this connection. So I'm glad that's happening. Very last thing, man, like, everybody has a little bit of different answer to this, but if there was somebody maybe in a similar situation with you, I guess as you were 6 months ago, if they were kind of on the fence, if they were maybe like a little bit afraid, maybe they're thinking they could do it on their own, like what would you say to that person?
Um, I would just say to them, take the leap. I mean, kind of like you said, the proof's in the pudding. Like if they had questions, I could say, look, this is where I started. This is where I ended. All my numbers have gone up. I look better. I feel better. Um, and kind of going back to what you said at the beginning, all of us are busy. Like, yeah, could I maybe have reached these results in 5, 7, 9 years? Maybe, probably not. But it takes a lot of the mental overhead that now I can focus on cooking and finding recipes. I can, focus on the nutrition and getting to the gym on time and getting to sleep on time because I'm not researching to figure out a program that I might like or might not like. So I would just say to do it. I mean, you're investing in yourself and you can't go wrong with trying to get healthier.
Yeah. No, dude, good words, man. And just to kind of close things out, I think it's, I think some people feel guilty when they go, like, or they feel like they're being lazy when they go, I just want it done for me. Like that sentence almost feels like lazy, right? Like if you hire a house cleaner, you're like, I just want it done. Like, well, it depends on how you look at it. Are you hiring a house cleaner because you're making, let's just say, you're making $500,000 a year? It's like at that point, it doesn't make sense for you to clean your house. You're probably like working all the time. You're busy. At a certain point, it's not, I really do believe it's not a good use of most people's time, depending on your experience, to program yourself and do the nutrition and do all this. Like it's just nice to have it freaking done for you. That's customized to you. And it's kind of the same thing when I work with coaches. Like I have a business coach. I'm very open about it. Sometimes I'm like, hey, what do I do? It's nice for him to just be like, go do this. I'm like, all right. It's not because I'm lazy. I'm trying to be efficient, right?
Right.
That's all it is. It's like I'm really busy. I could do the research. I'm not afraid of working hard. That's not it. But I value my time. It's the most valuable resource on this planet. We do not get it back. So I don't want to find out. I don't want to try to research it for a week. I just want you to tell me. Now, I'm not becoming dependent on him though, because as he's telling me and explaining the why behind it, I'm like, oh, okay. And eventually, when I leave him, I can use all that resource. And that's what coaching is. It's not this babysitting, it's not this hand holding, especially for somebody higher level like you. It's your coach meets you where you're at, and we give you, the little taps, man. And so you've put in the work, and I'm excited for you. I know like the journey's kind of almost just begun, like scratching the
Yeah.
surface. I'm like, bro, where are you gonna be like a year and a half from now? The freaking animal. So
Yeah, I'm excited.
yeah, yeah. Well, thanks for jumping on, dude. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I know this is gonna help somebody, and I really just appreciate the feedback, dude.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.